This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore.
There have been many of these, these days for Donald Trump, but yesterday was an especially terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. A good day for America, a good day for democracy, a fantastic day for upholding an oath to the Constitution of the United States of America. But for Donald Trump, those things, they run counter, so it wasn't great for him. Exclusive from CNN, check this headline out. Recordings, emails show how Trump team flew fake elector ballots into D.C. in final push to overturn 2020 election. I have the audio from CNN that I'm going to play for you. But first, let's postulate what this means. First of all, when you hear the audio, I think what we should be starting to think about is, from whom did CNN get this audio? Very unlikely, in my estimation, that it comes from the prosecution of any of the disparate cases against Donald Trump right now. This seems to maybe have come from, I'm speculating here, it's absolutely no evidence of it, except for the audio is from one side of the conversation. For instance, when Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, when the audio of the phone call was released of Donald Trump, it was obvious that it was recorded in the room that Brad Raffensperger resided at the time, and that the audio of Donald Trump was a recording of him on the phone, not a personal recording of his voice. You can tell the difference. This is Kenneth Chesebro, the man who has pleaded guilty to the crimes that he is alleged to have committed in Georgia. He is the voice you hear clearly. The other thing about this case is they're using the mail. Look, I'm no lawyer, but this might be a thing right out of the plot of the movie or the book, The Firm. I don't think they did it in the movie, but in the book, back when I was a 20-something Marine, maybe even a teenager, reading The Firm, they got the guys with mail fraud. And if they're mailing things across state lines using the Postal Service, there could be a case for mail fraud here. And Donald Trump could go down just like his favorite guy, the great Al Capone. I'm going to read a few paragraphs from the CNN article outlining what's going on, and then I'm going to share that audio with you. 2 days before the January 6th insurrection. Look, I have a lot of complaints about CNN, and many media outlets, but this is something we should normalize. It's using the word insurrection in copy, in articles, in analysis about this event. It wasn't a riot. It was an insurrection, an attempted overthrow of the United States government. So as much criticism as I steer your way, CNN, good job on this. 2 days, again, before the January 6th insurrection, the Trump campaign's plan to use fake electors to block President-elect Joe Biden from taking office faced a potentially crippling hiccup. The fake elector certificates from 2 critical battleground states were stuck in the mail. Thanks, Louis DeJoy. Maybe the one thing you've done right. Donald Trump's pick to be the Postmaster General, screwing up Donald Trump's attempt to illegally remain in office. So, Trump campaign operatives scrambled to fly copies of the phony certificates from Michigan and Wisconsin to the nation's capital, relying on a haphazard chain of couriers, as well as help from 2 Republicans in Congress to try to get the documents to then Vice President Mike Pence while he presided over the Electoral College certification. You'll remember, if you paid attention back in the early days, there was a lot of talk about Senator from Wisconsin, Ron Johnson, trying to courier notes to Mike Pence while he was in the middle of certifying. And Mike Pence's team rebuffing their advances, saying, no, we've got this, leave us alone. Continuing here, the operatives even considered chartering a jet to ensure the files reached Washington, D.C. in time for January 6, 2021 proceedings, according to emails and recordings obtained by CNN. They were going to charter, they didn't end up chartering a jet, but it was discussed, it was talked about, to charter a private jet to bring a manila envelope filled with fake elector signatures to Washington, D.C. This was desperation on the part of Donald Trump and his campaign. The new details provide a behind-the-scenes glimpse of the chaotic last-minute effort to keep Donald Trump in office. The fake electors scheme features prominently in Special Counsel Jack Smith's criminal indictment against the former president, and some of the officials who were involved have spoken to Smith's investigators. That is telling, because when the people who are accused of the crime, who were involved in the scheme, who were co-conspirators, when they start to talk, it's no longer hearsay. They were involved and they're spilling the beans. Again, it is a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day for Lil Donnie Trump. The emails and recordings also indicate that a top Trump campaign lawyer was part of the 11th hour discussions about delivering the fake elector certificates to Pence, potentially undercutting his testimony to the House Select Committee that investigated January 6th, that he had passed off responsibility and didn't want to put former vice president in a difficult spot. These key details largely come from pro-Trump attorney Kenneth Chesebro, who was an architect of the fake electors plot and now a key cooperator in several state probes into the scheme. Chesebro pleaded guilty in October to a felony conspiracy charge in Georgia in connection with the electors plan and has met with prosecutors in Michigan, Nevada, and Wisconsin who are investigating the sham GOP electors in their own states, and once again contributing to Donald Trump's terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. So here, because I guess the moment you've been waiting for, unless you've already heard it on CNN, here's the audio of those moments. You see, before I get to it, the reason this is important is because up to this point, it's just been kind of nebulous and we trust the word of the reporting. But when you have hard physical evidence of someone who was directly involved in the conspiracy to defraud the United States government, to defraud the United States voters, to end democracy in America, that's evidence. That's a big deal. Listen to this.
The general counsel of the Trump campaign is freaked out that Roman reported that the Michigan votes are still in the sorting facility in Michigan, which doesn't look like they're going to get to Pence in time. So the general counsel of the campaign was alarmed and was chartering, well, they didn't have to charter a jet, but they did commercial. This is like, so this is a high-level decision to get the Michigan and Wisconsin votes there. And they had to enlist a U.S. senator to try to expedite it to get it to Pence in time.
Now, one of the key components of this that I think is very important that I don't think is being talked about enough is the argument that Donald Trump is making with, or tried to make through the Supreme Court, and certainly making with appeals court here in D.C. about his absolute immunity, that he was acting on behalf of the country with the official duties and weight and authority of the office of President of the United States. And here, from one of his co-conspirators, we're hearing that the general counsel for the Donald Trump campaign was feverishly involved. That would indicate this is a campaign operation, not some kind of official duty of the President of the United States. That should be the focus here. That should be something that's on the tip of everyone's tongue and burning their ears when they talk about this story. More to come. More horrible, terrible, no good, very bad days, or whatever the title of that kid's book is, coming for Donald Trump. And I would invite your participation in this conversation. What do you notice about this? What are your thoughts? You can call and leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. I would absolutely love to hear from you. You can also just mix it up in the comments. We can have a conversation there. We can disagree agreeably, or maybe not so agreeably, as it is a YouTube comment section. If you want to help support my work, if you appreciate what I do, if I'm your flavor of political commentator, hit the join button. For $1.99 a month, you can take part in producing this content. Every little bit goes a long way. If I'm able to marshal the size of my audience, we could really do some big things. Follow me on social media. I'm at Dollemore on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Facebook, Blue Sky, all of them. I'd love to see you there at Dollemore. And I will see you next time. Until then, be genuine. Take care of one another.